Looks like the committee took about 20,000 out of here, Jacob, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I removed a vehicle, and we worked with our insurance company because we just recently wrecked a vehicle, so it worked to our advantage a little bit to get a replacement car for our department.
Yeah, the one was, because of that vehicle, and then the other one was, the one radio.
Correct.
We had it 6,000, but it should have been 3,000.
Okay.
That's why it got dropped.
How many cars you got, Kevin?
So we have 6 marked patrol cars with the one we will be purchasing under ARPA will move us to 7 cars.
Okay. Any more questions of Kevin or feedback on the local option sales tax buying a Durango? If Jacob's good with it, I'm good with it.
The PD also does the animal control, but that's a pretty small budget. I don't think there's a lot to talk about there.
What page is that?
That is page 21.
I basically draft that as a wash, the money that we have coming in for dog fines and licensing should be taken care of with our expenditures. Usually I leave a little bit of money in there, but this year we had to put a air conditioning unit in there.
Yeah, and tell me how that's working with, do you do anything with the wet nose? I mean, how's that relationship?
We have not yet. I met with their board last evening, and we will be entering into a partnership just to see how it works out. So, yeah.
So delivering strays there, what, I mean, what's?
Basically, what we do now, Clark, is we take dogs in and we hold them. And if they're not picked up within 12 hours, we give them to either Nose Hope or the Humane Society. I would like to move Wet Nose up to the #1 call on that, and hopefully they will take that up. We're not talking about a lot of dogs either, maybe 10 to 15 a year.
And you don't house them very long at all?
12 hours or less is what I would like to do. I just don't have people that go down there, check on the dogs, clean the kennels, walk them like they should.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get what you needed there. I think most people are in favor of the loss.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Next up is fire rescue. That is on page 19 and 20. I'll just start with what I noted on here. Once again, Dave also had a vehicle in his. I would recommend paying for Dave's vehicle also with local option sales tax funds. So once again, kind of, we've set that precedent, so we have the funds there. I think it makes sense to do something for that. So that'd be 43, yeah.
Lost money is a good thing for public safety, and everybody pays for it. We have several renters in town, you know, that don't technically pay property tax that go into our general fund, but a lot of them, most of them spend money here in town, so they pay that lost money. So there are a lot of who utilize our services as well. So
How would you use the vehicle, Dave?
this vehicle basically allows to, we push snow for the PD, both fire stations. This vehicle is used to offset that, so we can leave a pickup at the station at night to push snow because we have to be able to get out all night long. This vehicle will also be used for the duty staff to run and do small calls without taking a bigger engine or taking the ambulance, or to go pick up groceries or get supper or something like that, we're not taking the big trucks out like we do now to go do that, because we have to have the ambulance with us anywhere we go.
You don't do individual volunteer firefighters like driveways. I'm talking about lately, we've had this big pile of snow. You don't, just so those guys that are on call, whatever, can get out, you don't do theirs.
No.
Okay.
If they pay me, maybe. I don't know. Mark, you need your driveway done? Is that what you're getting at? Or,
No, I'm fine.
You are a public safety rep, I'm asking. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a blade now, so.
Oh, there you go.
Get on
there you go. Actually, we did use one to help get a couple fire hydrants, cleared away a little bit so we can get into them with a shovel. So we use it for that kind of stuff too. One of our pickups right now is putting a transmission in it, so it's out of service. So it's time to kind of keep those utility vehicles rotated and moving through. So that was one of the ideas with that as well. I will say this, a couple things. One, our department's growing. Our number of calls for service, as you guys know, is growing, up over 150 calls this year. We're averaging over 5 calls a day. We are open 24/7. We don't have an opportunity to close, whether it's weather or Christmas or whatever. So it takes people, it takes money, and it takes a lot of time. With that said, we removed a lot of stuff out of committee. About $262,000 of requests came out of the committee meeting that we've been taken or given up, so to speak. So we only have 2 things left in there, which is turnout gear in that vehicle. So we'll have to do a lot of fundraising to make up some of that stuff that is needed stuff. I come in here, and this is probably one of the first years I've put everything down that we actually need before fundraising, so that the council could actually see it all. I still would like to see that $150,000 added out of ARPA money or out of the COVID money to help buy that ground. We're still short on that, and I think we need to get that ground purchased as soon as we can for that station. So I would ask the council to consider that. You've already okayed 200. I'd like to see that other 150, since it's not coming out of this budget, come out of that COVID money. We were the ones taking care of COVID people. We had them breathing on us, coughing on us. We were deconning police cars and ambulances and fire trucks and using hazmat suits to do that initially and stuff, because we didn't know what that disease was going to cause. So we dealt with COVID a lot. And I know when they come out with, hey, COVID funds can be used for this and for that, I think your fire rescue department that's actually transporting COVID people that are dying to Sioux Falls and things and having them breathe right over top of you, and we're the ones working on them. I think we earned a lot of that money for our city. So I'd like to see some of that more go back to us, but you guys can decide that. I also want to talk to Jacob a little bit about our revenue column. As you see there, we're bringing in almost $1 million. I don't know what other department does that, not many. We are 4th on the draw of general fund, but we are the biggest department in the city. We operate 24 hours a day out of 2 different facilities with the most staff. We have 44 people that are paid people, paid on call or paid full time. So, but we're the 4th draw on the tax base out of all the city departments. So I think we're doing really well. Jacob, I know we dropped the revenue a little bit there. I honestly think, and I want your opinion on it, but I think that could probably go up another 20,000 to offset some of this 410 shortfall. The last couple of years we've been over 900,000. I know some of that ambulance money comes in a little later, but it does come in. So there's a way to make up another 20 right there. I was looking at some of those numbers, so I wanted to talk to you about that. Maybe I shouldn't have done it here, but I just want your opinion on that, because I know we lowered that.
Yeah, so specifically we lowered the ambulance service line. That one's been pretty variable. FY21 it was at 635. FY22 it went down to 583. And then so far year to date we've been trending lower once again. I think David said it maybe at 650 when he submitted the budget.
I did, and I was looking at the total bottom number because some of our fire revenue goes up and down as well. But when you look at actual 973, 905. I think we can push close to that 900, but that's up to you guys. You can set the revenue anywhere you want. But
When you say that 635 for 21 was the height of COVID hitting this community and transporting those?
actually, we did less transports during COVID than what we do now, because everybody just stayed home, everything shut down, everybody didn't go anywhere, didn't go to the doctor, didn't leave the house. So that actually was a good year, Mayor, with considering the number of transfers we had.
Okay.
That was actually a lower number of transfer years.
Sorry, I was trying to help you out. You told me.
No, I get it.
You told me you earned the ARPA money.
I get it. We did.
So did you or didn't you do more transports?
We didn't do more transports, but we dealt with more sick people.
More
If I can
more
put it
fire
that
calls,
way.
because more people are home cooking.
Yeah, more people home making supper, so they didn't go out to eat as much.
How do our ambulance rates compare to surrounding communities?
Very, very comparable, very comparable.
Is that, are they too cheap?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. And we do a service that a lot of other communities don't, which is your paramedic level service, which we allows us to charge for more because we're doing advanced life care instead of basic life care or basic support. So we do get more money because we're doing more in the back of our ambulances than a lot of surrounding communities do, providing for our patients and taking care of our patients. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know, Jacob.
I guess if you do look at the bottom line, FY21 actual is 973, FY22 actual is 905. So far, year to date, we're at 461, so if you project that out, that would be over 900. So in the proposed, we're at 879, so that would be a decrease in the total line. So I do see where you're coming from.
That's what I was looking at.
On the revenue side, confined space doesn't have its own category.
No, that goes in the fire service fees, and that's about 26,000.
I knew it was around 30.
Yep, you're right.
I mean, yeah, I knew it was around 30.
And that's guaranteed, I mean, that comes in no matter what. We bill that out every year. Our rural money went up again this year, it's at 104, that's for the townships that we cover in the rural areas.
Turnout gear seems to me to be a bit of a strange one to be willing to cut.
I'm not cutting it, that's the one I left in there.
He just
But
knows he
still
can
in-
find someone to help him pay for it.
Yeah.
The turnout gear's still in there.
Turnout gear's
That's
still
the
in
one
there.
thing you-
Turnout gear,
I thought
when I-
after committee, this 12 over here.
Oh,
no.
So it's
It's still in.
It's still in there.
Everything else got cut.
Everything else got cut.
Gotcha, okay.
So I have 2 items in and the other 15,
Gotcha.
20 items got
I
cut.
was reading that backwards.
Yeah.
I was reading that.
So I only have 2 left out of, so there's 262 that's been cut out of the request already.
So on the land, the 200 that is committed, which I wasn't 100% sure was committed, where's that committed from?
That was our one.
Okay, and so the 150,
I thought that was a, you had a,
participant?
yes, I didn't know if that was something we did
I
outside.
do, but
I'm sorry.
No, that,
I have the possibility of that, it's just, I'd like to use that in the participants for when we go to do the structure and do the building. What I'm looking at is we have a chance here for some free funding to buy ground, and then if we sell that other building for a profit, that offsets all this COVID money that we would use, and then some. But I can do it any way you wanna do it. It's just, I just think the city should purchase the property to build a station on, and then we can get donations and things like that to help build something like that
I
in the
will
future.
give you a spoiler alert, and that is I'm not too interested in selling that other building. If this moves forward, I'm not really, and
And that's fine.
that,
That's
you
you
know,
guys'
at least
decision.
right now, I'm not sure I'm interested in selling that building, but I see what your math is.
Yeah.
All right,
We would be to the good then if we sold that building, because we have ARPA money that would buy the ground, and then whatever we sell that building for would be a plus. But if we don't sell it, we don't sell it.
all right.
But I wanted to bring that up, I see that resurfacing those tennis courts is in the budget again, and we pulled that out a couple times. After our architect did the study, and I've shown you guys some of that what we need for the needs assessment doesn't fit where that Station 2 is located now, so. But that is definitely a nice building for somebody or for the city to keep if they want it or whatever, Clark, you're exactly right, exactly right.
Okay.
And then the only other big thing is people. You know, when we merged and put these together, we asked for 12 people to make it work, we got 9. So the 3 chiefs have been making up the difference to make it work. I think we showed it's worked, response times are good. We're getting to people quicker, we're taking care of things faster, we're not turning down any transfers. You know, we're averaging anywhere from 10 to 14 to Sioux Falls a month, so our taxpayers are getting taken care of. It's just the point of the chief officers have made up that difference. Now, we're bringing in almost $1 million in revenue, and that's a great thing, because most, if you look around the city's fire department, rescue departments don't do that to offset that budget. So we're actually bringing in the money, I thought we'd bring in with 12 full-time people, but that's because the 3 chiefs have made up that difference. So when you look at our hours, if I'm 40 hours and supposed to work 2080, I'm 799 hours over that for the year. So that's a lot of extra time, a lot of extra hours to be on call, because we needed 3 to run that ambulance. So you got a driver and 2 in the back, and we have 2 right now in each shift. So the chiefs are making up the 3rd person until at night when we can get a volunteer to come in. And then, of course, sometimes we have to go out with them anyway, because it takes 4 people because they weigh 700 pounds or something like that, or we have multiple calls. So we've asked for those other 3 people. I understand the budget, I understand the shortfall. So, you know, whatever you decide to do, we'll try to do that. But we have not issued any overtime to cover shifts. What I mean by that is if one of the full-time guys takes a 24-hour shift off, then I cover it. Or my assistant chiefs cover it. Where normally, you know, we should put that out for overtime, but we don't, so we can show that this works and we can make this work. But I can't do that forever. I'm getting older, and my wife's getting lonely, and, you know, I just gotta be careful, so I gotta take care of everything. He's laughing at me back there. Scott stops with the snow plow, I don't like it, you know, so I don't know what's going on. No, I'm just saying, so that's where we're at with that. You know, I don't know if you wanna do all 3 at once, that would be great, or if you wanna phase it in and do 1 and 1 and 1, or.
That's gonna be my question, could you do something like that?
I'll take whatever, Steve, right now, because I'm tired. I mean, if I get 1, I'll make it a day person so that maybe one of us 3 chiefs could have a day off. You know, last year I used 3 days of vacation, my assistant chief used 5, and the other one used 7 for the whole year. And Jacob's got the records, you can look at it. But so I just, you know, we're all in. When we did this merger, I told you it would work, and we're all in, and it's been great, and we were getting wonderful compliments and wonderful donations. I mean, we're offsetting the city budget, obviously. You pulled 262 out of the budget. I'm not gonna scream, because we'll come up with it sooner or later. The citizens are good to us, and the people have been great to us, and we're here to take care of them, and they help take care of us. So we got a good thing going. We really do. We really do. Our equipment's top notch, our training's top notch, our people are top notch when they can come. But day staff, Steve, is probably what I do if you give us 1 right now or whatever, because that's where we're short during the daytimes, where we might only get 3 or 4 volunteers to show up. Our full-time guys come in, and they come in on call back, and that's where they make a little overtime. But that's where we get our 12 people for a house fire, or our 15 people for a car accident that we need. So.
Are you short volunteers or just volunteers?
We have a lot of volunteers, it's just the timing of being able to leave work. And when you have 5 calls a day, I mean, that's why we've offset with full-time people. And, you know, Clark asked this years ago when he got on the council, and if you remember this, but, you know, we started to show how many calls we were taking care of that we weren't paging everybody in for. So when you do my monthly report, you look at it, there's always 10 to 15 things that we didn't have to call people in for, and that's not just the medical calls. Medical calls is another 80 that we didn't have to call people in for, because we have people available. So that's a good thing. So like this month, we paged people in 35 times in 31 days for January, which it could have been, you know, 150. So it's working. It's just we're still short that 12, and I know Jacob and Jason, everybody knows that, and when we merged, that's what we needed. Financially wise, we had money to do, we could do 9, so we did 9. And we've made it work, but it's long, sometimes long days, long hours. And as we continue to grow, I don't see calls slowing up. As I said, we're up 150 this year. We're already at almost 200 calls for this new year, and we're only in February, so I don't see the calls slowing down at all. So that's food for thought for you guys. I think our revenue could go up a little bit. If the car comes out of sales tax, great. We'll try to fundraise for the shortfall of all the stuff that has gone in committee. I'd like you to consider the 150 though for ARPA money. I really would, and get that ground secured, because you really don't find a big plot of ground somewhere that's in a good location on a main road that fits our insurance requirements. And then, the staffing stuff, yeah, Steve, if it's 1, 1, and 1, or it's 1 now and see what we can do later for grants or something if they open up or come open, whatever.
So Jacob, you noted that it's $88,000 per person for salary and benefits, and then another 45% on that for work comp, is that right?
Yes and no. It used to, so work comp rate for fire is the 45%. They are giving us a credit for ambulance calls, so we're actually breaking it out as a percentage of ambulance calls and fire calls. We'll
Okay.
break out their salary. So it wouldn't end up being the full 45.
Right, so initially
What's
when
the
we set,
ambulance rate, do you know?
Ambulance rates, 8%, I wanna say,
Yeah.
it's significantly less.
significantly, so like the straight EMS people we have in our department, we pay the 8. The firefighters would pay the 45, but what they've let us do with the paid people is break down what percentage are they doing EMS and what percentage are they doing fire, so we didn't have to pay the whole 45%. But it's a high-risk job, and that's why it is what it is. You run in a burning building or an ammonia cloud, it's a little more high risk than normal.
Probably about $100,000 per person, roughly.
Yeah.
What's the thoughts of the group?
I have a question for the chief.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't that long ago that our state, in its wisdom, reclassified emergency medical services as an essential service. Is there any comments about how that is meaningful in discussions about budget and such?
Well, basically, that just said they were aware that, yep, you're an ambulance. What that has to happen in the future is if you want to tax for that, then that has to go to a public vote where you can tax to bring in money for EMS services in the future. But you know as well as I do, nobody's really excited about new taxes, but some counties are looking at doing an essential services tax now that was deemed by the legislature and voted on. But this county has not pursued that at all at this point.